Hi everyone, my name is Jacqueline Morgan, and the topic of my research paper and presentation is what we know about Monsanto. The way I was able to go about my topic is to set up many goals. By writing these goals, I wrote down many questions. Some of the questions included who is Monsanto? What are some of the products made? What are GMOs? Are they harmful? Are there countries using these products? Are they safe to consume? And if they're so bad, why hasn't there been anything to stop them? Is America the only one using it? And with writing down these questions, I try to compile as many thoughts as possible and use these various sources to interpret it and come up with my conclusions of it. So, for example, Monsanto was a company that actually started in 1901. As Glick says in his writing, it was founded as a chemical company and has since commercialized a diverse group of products, including industrial chemicals, synthetic fibers, building materials, pharmaceuticals, food additives, and also agricultural chemicals. And with that, I was able to dive in a little bit deeper and try to understand exactly what the products were for all of these different subtopics. Another question that I had that I try to answer was, what are some of the products made? To name a few, there was saccharin, and saccharin was used as an artificial sweetener. And a group of scientists created a case study. And what this was comparing two different groups of people to understand what's going on, the effects of exposure to saccharin. And they found that the correlation between ingesting saccharin was directly linked to bladder cancer. And this was concluded by the Cancer Institute of Canada and the University of Toronto. Another harmful chemical that is being used on a daily basis, even today, is Roundup. Roundup can be bought at your local tool store, like, for example, Home Depot, Lowe's, any of these big stores, they have Roundup. And it is effective in getting rid of unwanted weeds, but it's a wonder what it can do in the long run. For example, there was a farmer that was interviewed by Phil McCausland, a journalist, and the farmer, who has been using Roundup for many years, claims that the diagnosis of his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma was stimulated because years of exposure to Roundup. He's been using this Roundup on his products for a very long time. Another example is Agent Orange. Agent Orange was used during the Vietnam War, and it basically acted as a deforester. So the purpose of the product was a success, but for those who were exposed to it, according to Schmidt, dioxin has been associated with human cancers, heart disease, leukemia, Hodgkin's disease, Parkinson's, and other health problems, and even affecting individuals born 2 generations after the Vietnam War. Dioxin is a chemical component of Agent Orange, and that's the main culprit to these harmful side effects. On top of that, Monsanto is now creating GMOs. GMOs is best understood if you break down this acronym. So it stands for genetically modified organisms. And the best way to understand this is basically saying genetically is the genetic makeup of your body. All living organisms have genes. You and I, everything, every living thing, I'm sorry. And modifying it is to modify these genes so it's more favorable in certain conditions. So, for example, let's say I wanted to grow corn in some climate, some area, I would have to genetically modify it so that it is able to grow in those conditions. So, because of these modifications, many farmers have actually been very happy with the growth because they've been able to yield more produce. And it's also been linked to relieving world hunger. Um, there are many countries that use these GMOs and other hybrid seeds, they're called. There's canola oil, there's hybrid seed corn, and many more products that will be talked about more in the content of the paper. So it's not yet been proven to be safe. According to Laveau, the company stated that there's no need to test any of the safety related issues for GM products in humans. And for such a big, large corporation to say that, it makes some people question if they are lying or if it is truly safe. There's a lot of debate. And if they are so bad, why didn't the company do anything to stop them a long time ago? Well, there has been a lot of lobbying since then, a lot of bribing. Even presidents have become involved. For example, President Clinton was handedly involved in the RBGH program, which was basically RBGH is a synthetic bovine growth hormone. And what this is to stimulate, it's injected into cows to stimulate more milk. And when people ingest this milk, they have this RBGH now in their body. Uh, it hasn't fully been tested yet whether it's safe or not, but the Clinton administration, according to Ronnie Cummins, said that the reason the U.S. government approved RBGH drug because of the rampant conflict of interest in the Clinton administration with the Monsanto Corporation. So it makes you question, why was a conflict there? These are people ingesting these things, and people don't know if they're safe. On top of that, is America the only one using it? I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but there are other countries such as India, America, Canada. Almost every country in the world is using GMO products made by Monsanto. So there's a lot of questions to be answered. And another goal that I try to jot down is when to achieve these goals. So jotting many questions. So from reading all this information, I try to compile my thoughts so that I can come up with my own assumptions, but try to do it in the most objective way as possible. So next, look up information from various sources. The main sources I have been using right now have been EBSCOhost and ProQuest. I've been finding a lot of information regarding this topic, and I have been staying away from Google. Google Scholar is a good source, but many of the articles I would like to read require fees, so I haven't really been using Google Scholar. Some of the achievements I was able to make is to come up with an outline. I found that coming up with a reference outline has been the most helpful, and to not get discouraged. This is the biggest assignment. This is the biggest paper I've written in many years. So writing an outline and keeping a schedule has been very helpful. As well as coming across new information, I was able to just put it right into an area in my reference outline where it would be appropriate without losing my train of thought. And as I said, making a schedule has been very helpful. I'm not very great as to keeping to my schedule, but it's been helpful. And lastly, the conclusion, I just feel like there's like I said right here, so much more to learn about GMOs and the company. And I feel that if people want to feel safe buying GMO products at their nearest grocery store, they should learn more about the history of the company, their dealings with the government, how it is being grown in other countries, and meet even farmers, and also talk about the pros of the entire company. For example, it relieving world hunger is a great pro, but at what cost if it actually does more harm than good? So I hope everyone enjoys this short presentation. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Maybe I could even implement it in my paper. And thank you for your time.